Good afternoon and welcome to Light on the Hill. I am Pastor John. This week we're going to be continuing our series on Jesus' I am statements in the Gospel of John. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our verse for today, which is from John 8:12. When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. So this is the second of those I am statements that Jesus makes within the book of John. And this one specifically comes right at the start of a bit of a segment, a section of detailing some conflict between him and the Pharisees who are in the crowd listening to him. They kind of go back and forth over the next few verses after this, kind of talking about what he was saying and how he was saying it. A big part of the reason for this was that when Jesus would speak and teach, he didn't follow the traditional way that rabbis would teach at that time. If you were a rabbi, you never spoke and taught like you yourself had authority. You always referenced other rabbis. So instead of saying this is what I think, you would say, well, so-and-so thinks this about this, so that's what you should do. Or that's what you should think, or so on and so forth. But when Jesus would speak, he would speak in very definite sort of statements. So this kind of caused a little bit of an issue with the Pharisees who were in the crowd at this time, because they were wondering who does this guy, they were really just sort of thinking, who does this guy think he is? And the statement really does kind of give a bit of an idea of what that is. Jesus is describing himself as being the light. And this is set at the time that Jesus would have been talking about this is thought to be around the time of the Festival of Tabernacles, where in the courtyards throughout Jerusalem, they would have had these great candles lit that would have been giving light to the darkness of the city during night. And so Jesus is invoking that image to describe himself and what his followers get from following him within the world. Namely, that Jesus, as a source of light, allows them to not get lost in the darkness. And this is a bit of a metaphor that upsets the Pharisees, and when Jesus kind of goes a little bit more into defending himself, it actually results in him saying another I am statement, which almost causes him to get stoned, which was when he said, before Abraham existed, I am, or it's along those lines. And what he's really saying right there, that is the sort of point where I mentioned last week with the word in Greek, ego eimi, which means I am. That is a point where Jesus is directly referring to his divinity. So this is all very much connected into the statement in which Jesus is talking about how he is that he is divine and that his Father is a God who is giving him the authority to say these things and not have to rely on other sort of teachers for those kinds of things. So what does this mean for us today? Well, as believers, just like the listeners back then, we can take the light that Jesus provides for us and use it as guidance for us within our own lives. It allows us to navigate through the darkness that we might encounter throughout the world. Even now, even when things seem bleak, having that light of Jesus that we can see gives us a focal point for us to move towards and to navigate through whatever darkness might be facing us. So I hope that all helps you out there, and I'm going to go ahead and close this in prayer, and I will see you next week. Lord, I thank you so much for this time we could come together and just learn a little bit more about your word. I thank you so much for all the blessings you've given us this past week, for all the wonderful things you've done for us. I continue to pray for the pandemic that is going on right now throughout the world. I just pray that you will give our healthcare officials who are leading us through all this the wisdom that they need to continue leading us. And I just pray that you will keep all of us safe at this time. I pray that you will help us as well to deal with these tensions within our country, these racial tensions, that we can figure out and solve the problems that have caused this, specifically that of white supremacy, that you will just, be able to move forward to being the culture that you want us to be. And in your name, amen.